Hi, my name is Chris Liddle, and I am the host of The Lifestyle Chase. In 2018, I started this show to have meaningful conversations. I've interviewed over 100 different people, both in and out of the fitness industry. This podcast is something I'm incredibly proud of. Welcome to Season 4. Thanks for joining me.
So we're going to switch gears here. What you mentioned earlier is just like throughout your schooling, you had some psychology experience. And it's not necessarily that would be something that overtakes how you see everything. But I could understand how it helps you see things differently, like with regards to connecting in the industry and with regards to reframing situations that maybe don't go your way on a day-to-day basis. Like, how do you see and navigate obstacles in your career through the lens that you have based on your past experiences?
One thing I'll say is like, I kind of tell this to like people that, I mentor and work with, or even like my clients. I just say everything is like figure outable. And I'm not sure if that's like a word, but when I, see someone doing the things that I want to do, I just get inspired. Like, I know that genetically we're not that different. Maybe we grew up with different circumstances, different contexts, but I'm like, man, like someone that's human and I'm human is able to do that. And that inspires me so much. And it makes me realize like they're probably doing something different that I'm not doing currently, whether it's being more crafty, whether it's, going out into the world, meeting different people, building these relationships. I just truly think that like whenever we come through an obstacle, it's an opportunity to learn something that we haven't learned before. And I know if I want change, it's got to come with some resistance. It's got to come with some friction, because if it was easy, your body wouldn't detect it as anything different, right? But when you encounter something, it's like, I think reframing it is the best way to do it. And I've done that constantly, like growing up as well. When I'm playing a sport or like doing something that if there's any sort of adversity or competition, normally I still feel the same way, right? It's like, oh man, like I don't want to look stupid or I don't want to choke. But reframing is like, oh man, this is an opportunity to potentially showcase myself as an individual, or this is an opportunity to like just compete at a different level. Even something as simple as giving a presentation in school. I remember I was giving like a biology presentation and I was like, cool, this is an opportunity to like practice public speaking. I know it's probably to a group of college students that aren't listening, but everything is just an opportunity. And if there's nothing to it, it's just an opportunity to practice patience until this time passes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, with the last 2 years, I feel like all of us got like dealt a lot of opportunities, as you call it. I love it. I love how you frame it that way, because that's kind of like that mindset a person has to have to make the most of like what is dealt to them. But if we zoomed into 2020, 2021, what are two opportunities? And we will specify that these opportunities are things that you might have doubted yourself before you took them as opportunities. What are two that kind of stand out and became transformational for you?
Oof. I think one has got to be kind of like with the content that I'm kind of curating currently. Creating content where I'm talking about my thought process and my philosophy. It's one thing to kind of put out content and give examples of things that you do, but it's another thing to actually like vocalize it and speak it and explain it in ways that other people can understand. And 2021 was the first time where I've recorded live sessions. And that was like terrifying, because the one thing that is a struggle for me is like there's people that follow me that I think are absolutely brilliant, and it puts me in a very vulnerable situation where I'm like, I'm going to put this out, and it might be different from what other people are thinking, but I know that I frame it as this: it's a way to showcase people what rehab and physical therapy could look like if they've gotten something that was completely the opposite of what they needed. And I want to show people that, one, not every single healthcare provider is going to give you barriers or tell you can't do things, you know? So definitely one big thing is that creating content where I'm speaking a lot. And I've never always been a good speaker. I've had times where I was supposed to be a speaker in front of like 60 people and I completely choked and I didn't say a word. And I still think about that stuff from time to time. But I know, like, just reading books on it, and I know people always say you can't read, you got to get into the trenches, but reading books is like a way to like access someone that's done it so many times. So there are a couple of books that I read about public speaking that definitely helped. The other thing is, I think, making the jump, to like starting your own business, and like thinking about whether you're ready or not, and realizing that you're gonna fail. So you might as well fail fast and learn to adapt, opposed to waiting to create this, very sterile, perfect plan that hasn't faced any situations that it wouldn't account for yet. Like, I would rather build a framework, let it fail me, adapt the framework to those failures so that it can adapt to more situations. So now I just realize I just got to get my hands dirty.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I want to highlight your content because I have shown your content to content creators and been like, this is awesome. I want you to see this because it is just done so well. And so I'll totally vouch for it. I think if anybody's listening to this, they should go follow you and see what you're putting out into the space, because I think it's part of many, many things that are adding to your momentum. But I like to know when a person's day one was. Like, when did you start working on that content? Like, when were you first starting to really delve into your own personal brand and making videos and articulating yourself in posts?
You mean like from the beginning of like social media, like why I started it, or like when did I hit my stride?
Let's say your stride. Let's focus on your stride here, because I could understand how we could be going back way, way far if we talk about just social media in general.
Yeah, I had a boutique fitness company reach out in New York City that wanted me to create content for them. This was like kind of after the pandemic was like slowly fading away, and like the quarantine was not the pandemic, quarantine was kind of slowly fading away. And they had created like their own online programming platform, and they wanted me to be like the rehab mobility part of it. And it was so funny because they're like, you got to submit an audition video. And I was like, an audition video? I've never done an audition video before. And they definitely didn't teach this in school. And that day I'm on my kitchen and I got an iPhone and I'm like talking about introducing myself, what I'm going to be doing for the platform and stuff like that. And it took like 50 takes. And after like the 50th take, I submitted to them. They're like, listen, this is pretty solid. It ended up not being what I wanted, having the autonomy to curate my own content. It was kind of like, these are some things we want you to talk about. So afterwards, I realized, I was like, man, the next skill that I really need to develop is being able to speak, because that's a skill that is never going to go, out of style. Like, people are always looking for people that can confidently speak within their regarded field. So that time I was swamped already. I was seeing like 30 to 40 sessions a week and doing a bunch of other stuff as well. And I remember one day I had a 12-hour day and it was almost back to back to back to back. So I ended up finishing from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I had called my best friend, Alan. I'm like, dude, we're going to take content to the next level. And I want to like do things like, that's just different from what's being produced currently on Instagram. So he came in, and no one really knows the story, but we started recording around like 8:30 because he had just got this crazy lighting system. So we started recording around 8:30. So from 8:30 to 9:30, I was actually doing pretty good. We had like 4 videos and I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, let's take a break. Take a break. He's like, I'm just going to listen to the sound quality on a computer. So he uploads it. So it's around like 10 o'clock. He uploads the video. He's like, dude, I'm like, what happened? He's like, we got a problem. The sound was off. And I was like, so I just did a 12-hour shift, and then we recorded for like an hour, and then those videos were gone. And the 4 videos that were recorded weren't like the ones I kind of have now, which are like 30 seconds. It was like very intricate because I was introducing an online training thing we are doing, and I was introducing some like more complex tutorials. So we recorded up until 1 a.m. and I think I got like 10 to 15 videos out of it. And I was like, dude, don't worry about it. It's in the past. Let's just forget about it. Let's just get some good energy going. Like we can, don't worry about it. Like I can still record till like 1 a.m. and we'll figure it out. And ever since then, I kind of realized like, one, people really enjoyed that kind of content. And for me, it's like, yeah, you can curate content for yourself, but you're really kind of curating content for your community. So since then, now I fortunate enough to work with 2 different content creators, and we meet every week, and I'm just trying to produce as much content as I can and provide as much value as I can, because there's people all over the world that struggle with these little things and struggle with beliefs, thoughts. And I just want to make sure that everyone has access to just quality information.
I love that. So I hope that people like take the time to look at that further, because with the changing landscape of our industry as a whole, it's in everybody's best interest to like look at what their next step is. Like I know I'm really good friends with content creator. Shout out to Chen of Vivid Ribbon. So if you aren't following Chen, follow him there. I just wanted to give him that shout out because honestly, throughout my training career, he has helped me so much, and I think he deserves to be spoken highly of. And he's actually been on the show, so people can learn more about him. But all of that aside, we're going to transition into the next topic that we're going to cover.